Ladies and gentlemen, wealth is not just about money. Wealth begins in the mind. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, and limitation, no amount of effort will feel like enough. But if your mind is trained to see possibilities, to believe in abundance, and to act with purpose, you will attract opportunities that others miss. The truth is, most people live with a scarcity mindset. They focus on what they don't have, what they can't afford, and what they think is impossible. That mindset becomes a cage. But the moment you decide to shift from scarcity to abundance, the cage door opens. Suddenly, you see options. You notice opportunities that were there all along. Your beliefs are powerful. If deep down you believe money is evil or that you don't deserve success, you'll keep sabotaging yourself without even realizing it. But when you align your beliefs with abundance, when you believe that wealth is not only possible but within your reach, you begin to attract the very things you once thought were out of your league. Discipline is key. Training your mind is like training a muscle. If you focus daily on growth, possibilities, and abundance, your mind becomes conditioned to seek them. And here's the beauty of it. What you focus on expands. Aren't always clear. Wealth doesn't come from wishful thinking. Thoughts without action are just dreams. True abundance is when you think abundantly and then take bold, consistent action that aligns with those thoughts. That's when ideas turn into income and opportunities turn into results. Gratitude is the accelerator. When you are grateful for what you already have, you signal to your mind and to the universe that you are ready for more. Gratitude turns a small income into a stepping stone for greater wealth. It shifts your focus from lack to plenty. And that energy attracts more abundance. Train your mind daily. Break the scarcity mindset. Align your beliefs with abundance. Discipline your focus. Take action. Practice gratitude. Do this and you won't just earn money. You'll attract unlimited wealth into every area of your life. Wealth begins in the mind long before it ever shows up in your bank account or in the life you live. The way you think about money, success, and opportunity creates the foundation for your financial reality. If your thoughts are constantly filled with fear of loss, with doubts about whether you are capable, or with comparisons to people who seem to be ahead of you, then wealth will feel like something always slipping through your fingers. But when you choose to see money as energy, as a tool, as something that can be created and multiplied through discipline and vision, you begin to change the story. The mind is the soil, and your thoughts are the seeds. If you plant seeds of lack, your harvest will always be shorted. If you plant seeds of abundance, patience, and belief, your harvest will be more than enough. So many people misunderstand wealth because they only measure it by numbers. They think if they don't see millions in their account, they are not wealthy. But the truth is, the wealth you see outside of you is simply a reflection of what has been cultivated inside of you. If you think small, if you believe there are limits to what you can achieve, your results will mirror those limits. If you train your thoughts to expect growth, to expect increase, to expect opportunities, you begin attracting the very conditions that make wealth possible. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about directing your focus, shaping your beliefs, and setting your inner compass towards success. Your mind has power to either close doors or open them. Imagine two people given the same challenge. One says, "This is impossible. I can't do it." And immediately their creativity shuts down, their energy decreases, and they walk away. The other person looks at the same challenge and says, "There must be a way." And because they think in possibilities, they discover solutions others never see. That difference in thought creates a difference in wealth. Because the truth is, wealth is not just earned, it is attracted. You attract it by the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you respond to opportunities. When you decide to discipline your thoughts, you begin to shift your life. Instead of rehearsing everything that went wrong, you remind yourself of what can go right. Instead of envying people who are successful, you train your mind to ask, "What can I learn from them?" Instead of thinking that money is hard to come by, you focus on the value you can create and the skills you can develop. This mental training builds resilience, and resilience attracts reward. Wealth begins in the mind because every action, every decision, every breakthrough starts with a single thought. If you master your thoughts, you master your results. If you condition your mind to believe in abundance, you will begin to live in abundance. And when your mind is wealthy, your life has no choice but to follow. Breaking the scarcity mindset is one of the most powerful shifts you can make if you want to attract true wealth into your life. Scarcity convinces you that there is never enough, that money is limited, opportunities are rare, and success belongs only to a chosen few. It whispers that every gain someone else makes is a loss for you, that resources are scarce, and you must cling tightly to whatever little you have. This way of thinking creates fear, stress, and competition, but it does not create growth. It blinds you from seeing that abundance is all around you, waiting for you to recognize it. When you stop focusing on what you lack, and instead begin to see opportunities, you step into a mindset that multiplies instead of diminishes. Scarcity often shows up in everyday life without us realizing it. It sounds like, I can't afford that, I'll never have enough, or people like me don't get those kinds of breaks. It causes you to settle, to shrink, and to disqualify yourself before you even try. The problem with scarcity is not that it protects you from risk, it's that it stops you from growing. It locks you into survival mode where the only thing you can think about is hanging on to what little you already have. But the truth is, holding on too tightly can prevent you from ever reaching for more. When you operate out of scarcity, you're like a person staring at a closed door while ignoring the dozen open ones right beside it. Abundance thinking, on the other hand, opens your eyes. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, you ask, how can I create? Instead of seeing someone else's success as proof that you're behind, you see it as evidence of what's possible. Instead of dwelling on the little you have, you focus on how to multiply it. Scarcity closes your hands. Abundance opens them. Scarcity says, there's only one pie. Abundance says, let's bake another pie. This is why the wealthiest people are not just the ones who collect money, but the ones who create value, solve problems, and serve others. They are constantly looking for possibilities where others see obstacles. Breaking the scarcity mindset is not about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about refusing to let challenges define your reality. It is about retraining your focus. When your mind wants to obsess over lack, redirect it toward what's within your control. Ask yourself, what can I do today with what I already have? That question alone unlocks creativity and opens the door to opportunities you may have been overlooking. When you stop staring at the empty space in your life and start recognizing the seeds already in your hands, you begin planting the future you want to harvest. The moment you stop focusing on lack, your energy shifts. You feel lighter, more hopeful, more creative. You start seeing doors where you once saw walls. You begin to realize that wealth is not taken from you. It is created by you. And when you live in that space of abundance, you will always find more than enough. Aligning your beliefs with abundance is the key to unlocking financial freedom and attracting wealth into your life. Money does not simply flow to effort alone. It flows where belief and expectation are in agreement. You can work tirelessly, but if deep down you believe you are unworthy of success, or if you expect failure more than victory, your results will always mirror that hidden belief. The mind is powerful, and it quietly directs every choice, every risk, and every opportunity. You either embrace or ignore. What you believe at the deepest level sets the ceiling for what you can receive. So many people chase money with a heart full of doubt. They say they want success, but in the back of their minds, they don't believe it's possible for them. They may think wealth is reserved for people with the right background, the right education, or the right connection. As a result, they talk themselves out of opportunities before they even begin. They hesitate, they procrastinate, and they sabotage their own progress because their beliefs and expectations are misaligned. It is not enough to say the words, I want abundance, while secretly expecting disappointment. True transformation comes when your inner belief system and your outward expectation both point in the same direction, toward increase, toward prosperity, toward abundance. When you align belief with abundance, you begin to rewire the way you see yourself in the world. Instead of believing money is hard to get, you believe money is attracted to value, and you can always create value. Instead of believing you don't deserve wealth, you accept that wealth is a byproduct of growth, service, and courage. Things you are fully capable of cultivating. Your belief in abundance doesn't mean you ignore challenges, but it does mean you expect good to come out of every situation. That expectation drives you to keep going when others quit. It fuels creativity when resources seem limited. It keeps your eyes open to opportunities that others overlook, because they've already convinced themselves it won't work. Expectation is powerful because it shapes your energy. If you expect rejection, you show up timid. If you expect to fail, you stop giving your best effort. But if you expect abundance, you carry yourself differently. You speak with confidence, you take risks with wisdom, and you move forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. That confidence is magnetic. It draws people, ideas, and resources toward you. Money flows to those who believe in their own ability to handle it, to multiply it, and to use it wisely. Aligning your beliefs with abundance is not a one-time decision. It is daily training. It means challenging old stories that say you are not enough, and replacing them with the truth that you are capable, worthy, and prepared for growth. It means expecting progress even when you don't yet see results. Over time, those aligned beliefs and expectations form a foundation so strong that wealth becomes a natural byproduct of who you are. And when you live in that state of alignment, you don't have to chase money. Money begins to find its way to you. Disciplining your focus is one of the greatest skills you can develop if you want to attract wealth and abundance. The truth is, the mind is like a magnet, and what you consistently think about eventually shapes the direction of your life. If your focus is scattered, your results will be scattered. If your focus is fixed on problems, but if you discipline your focus towards solutions, opportunities, and growth, you begin attracting the very things you need to build the life you want. Focus is energy, and where that energy flows, your reality begins to grow. Most people underestimate how much their thoughts shape their future. They allow distractions, negativity, and fear to dominate their attention. They focus on bills instead of wealth, on failure instead of possibility, on what they lack instead of what they can create. Day by day, this mental pattern becomes their reality. They don't realize that by rehearsing lack in their thoughts, they are actually training their mind to attract more of it. That is why discipline is so important. To discipline your focus means you refuse to let your attention be hijacked by every worry, every doubt, every shiny distraction. It means you choose deliberately what you will allow your mind to dwell on, knowing that your consistent focus will soon show up in your consistent result. Discipline is not about thinking one positive thought and expecting instant change. It is about training yourself day after day to redirect your attention when it drifts toward negativity. It is about saying no to thoughts that drain your energy and yes to thoughts that build your vision. For example, when you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never make enough," you discipline your mind to shift the focus toward what value can I create today that brings me closer to my goal. When you feel overwhelmed by obstacles, you discipline your focus toward the next step instead of drowning in the entire journey. This simple redirection builds mental strength, and over time it shapes a reality of progress. Your focus becomes the lens through which you see the world. If you discipline it toward growth, you start noticing opportunities others overlook. If you discipline it toward abundance, you see potential where others see shortage. If you discipline it toward gratitude, you attract more to be grateful for. This is why two people can be in the same situation and have completely different outcomes, because one chose to focus on the problem, while the other chose to focus on the possibility. The more disciplined your focus, the clearer your path becomes. Instead of being pulled in 1,000 directions, you move with intention. Instead of reacting to life, you begin to direct it. Wealth, success, and abundance are not accidents. They are the result of consistent focus. And when you train your mind to discipline that focus, you no longer chase opportunities. Opportunities begin to chase you because your energy, your clarity, and your vision are aligned with what you truly want. Abundant thinking is where the real transformation happens. It is easy to sit and dream, to think positive thoughts, to visualize success in your mind. But wealth does not come from thoughts alone. Abundance begins in the mind, but it multiplies through action. Positive thinking without action is like planting seeds and never watering them. You may have the potential for growth, but without follow-through, nothing will bloom. The difference between those who imagine abundance and those who live in abundance is that the latter take bold, consistent steps to turn their thoughts into reality. Abundant thinking creates a shift in how you see the world. It tells you there are opportunities everywhere, that setbacks are lessons, and that growth is always possible. But if you stop at that mindset and never move, the abundance you believe in will remain stuck in your imagination. Abundance is meant to be expressed through what you do, through the risks you take, the habits you build, and the value you create. Every idea, no matter how powerful, requires action to become wealth. A vision of a business, a dream of financial freedom, or a desire for a new opportunity only becomes real when you step forward and do something about it. Acting on abundant thinking also means refusing to let fear dictate your decision. Many people believe in abundance until it's time to take a risk. They imagine the life they want, but never send the application, never start the business, never make the investment, never share the idea. They convince themselves they're not ready, when in reality the act of stepping forward is what prepares them. Abundant thinking gives you the courage to act even when you don't have every detail figured out, because you trust that action creates clarity. It reminds you that wealth is built little by little, decision by decision, and that progress matters more than perfection. Action also builds momentum. The first step you take toward abundance creates energy for the next one. Over time, consistent action compounds just like money in an account. Each step, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving more. And the more you act, the more evidence you gather that abundance is not just an idea. It is a lifestyle. Opportunities begin to open because you are moving, because you are showing up, because you are demonstrating faith in your own potential. Wealth belongs to those who refuse to stay passive. It belongs to those who align their thoughts with abundance, and then translate those thoughts into tangible steps. You don't need to have all the answers to start. You just need the courage to act on what you already believe. Abundant thinking without action is only a dream. But abundant thinking with action becomes a future, a legacy, and a life of unlimited wealth. Gratitude multiplies wealth because it transforms the way you see what you already have and shifts the energy of your life to attract more. When you live with a mindset of gratitude, you stop obsessing over what is missing and start recognizing the value of what is already present. Gratitude has a multiplying effect. What once seemed small suddenly feels significant, and what once felt like lack begins to feel like abundance. This change in perception opens the door for more to flow into your life. Gratitude is not just a polite thank you, it is a powerful force that takes what is little and makes it feel like enough. And that sense of sufficiency creates the foundation for increase. Too often people believe wealth will bring them gratitude when in reality, gratitude brings them wealth. They say, "I'll be grateful when I have more," but that attitude keeps them in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Gratitude flips that equation. It says, "I'll be grateful now, and because of that gratitude, I will attract more." When you see your small income as seed rather than insufficiency, you begin to nurture it. When you are thankful for opportunities, even the small ones, you open yourself to larger ones. Gratitude removes the bitterness of comparison, silences the voice of envy, and fills you with the clarity to see blessings where others see burdens. Gratitude also sharpens your focus. Instead of constantly chasing what you don't have, you become more resourceful with what you do have. You use your talents more fully, you steward your money more wisely, and you make better decisions, because you are not clouded by resentment or lack. This wise stewardship naturally creates growth. The grateful person uses every opportunity as a stepping stone, while the ungrateful person overlooks opportunities because they're too busy wishing for something bigger. Gratitude changes your energy and people are drawn to. Nobody wants to work with or help someone who always complains about what they don't have. But when you carry gratitude, you carry a sense of joy and appreciation that attracts connections, partnerships, and opportunities. Gratitude builds trust and opens doors that negativity would slam shut. Even in difficult seasons, gratitude shifts your perspective, reminding you that every challenge carries a lesson, and every delay holds hidden preparation. That mindset keeps you moving forward while others quit. The wealthiest lives are not the ones with the most possessions, but the ones with the deepest gratitude. Gratitude creates contentment, and contentment attracts increase. It keeps you from chasing endlessly, because when you feel rich in spirit, more wealth naturally flows to you. The more grateful you are, the more abundance you notice. And the more abundance you notice, the more abundance you attract. Gratitude truly multiplies wealth. It turns little into enough. It makes enough feel like more, and it creates space for more to arrive. When you live with gratitude, you don't just count your blessings begin to count for you. When we put it all together, the message is clear. Wealth is not just about money. It is about the mindset that shapes. Wealth begins in the mind because your thoughts set the foundation for your reality. It requires breaking the scarcity mindset, so you can stop dwelling on lack
and start recognizing opportunity. It takes aligning your beliefs with abundance, because money flows where belief and expectation work together. It demands discipline over your focus, knowing that what you consistently think about will eventually manifest. It calls for action because abundant thinking without action is only a dream. And finally, it requires gratitude because gratitude multiplies wealth by turning little into enough and attracting more into your life. The path to unlimited wealth is not something reserved for a chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to train their mind, reshape their beliefs, focus with discipline, act with courage, and live with gratitude. When you embrace these principles, you stop chasing wealth and start attracting it. And as you do, you'll find that true wealth is not only measured in numbers, but also in peace, freedom, and the ability to create impact in the lives of others.